wouldn't even know where to begin. It's not about Democrat, Republican, or whatever, okay? It's a little different. I specialize in the unusual. But this is a serious man that was just on the show with a very serious problem that we have. But then you raise the issue of immorality. Is it moral to use organized crime? If, in fact, that's what it is. Will the government let them do it? I mean, will they let them do it? I mean, they're probably monitoring these guys. They probably got better wiretaps on them than on the 1,000 Muslims that they're, the 1,000 suspects, let's put it that way. Sorry, CAIR. I meant the suspects. We all know they're not Muslims. They're Irish nuns in wheelchairs over the age of 90. FBI says they have 1,000 investigations going on. Imagine the investigations. You can just imagine how far they're allowed to investigate. 1,000 active investigations. Makes you wonder, why don't they just drag him in? Pull him in. Pull him in, give him a nice spot to hold him in till the war is over. Build a Guantanamo here in America. And then when you get Marvin from the NYU screaming about due process, you know what? Give him a nice padded cell in the same place. Let's see how they treat Marvin inside ISIS's holding tank. Yeah, right. Okay. Well, look, this is commonsensical in a world that's nonsensical. What can I tell you? Line 5, Savage Nation. What's on your mind? Go ahead. Yeah, Pat, you're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Me, Pat.
I know, Pat, talk. You're on the radio, please.
All right. Gambino getting the job done, forget about it. He's going to get it done. You know why? He's not worried about his job. He'll keep his job. He's worried about his family and all the people who work for him, their family. They don't have to worry about political correctness. They'll take care of it. They'll put the fear of God in these guys, or the fear of Allah. You know, they won't worry about this.
Yeah, but you know, Pat, there are plenty of Americans in this country who are as tough and as mean as they come, and they're not members of any gangs, and they love to rip them apart. You know that, Pat.
Yes. Yeah. You know,
they like to go in and rip their throats out while they're gagging. They like to tear them to pieces in front of their friends to put the fear of them in, but they're more afraid of the government because the government probably would attack them faster than the ISIS guys that they're watching, Pat. That is the problem.
Right. Well, you know, they got away with some things, but...
blood thing before. I don't know if that's still true. Thank you. I actually investigated that, and turned out that it wasn't true. We wrapped them in the pig and this and that, and it turned out it didn't matter to them. There was a myth about that general who fought them. All right, this is a pretty serious topic. You want to talk about turkeys or the... and we have the biggest tides, by the way, in the Bay Area right now, the highest tides of the winter. I wonder if the mayor of San Francisco has ever been on the Bay. I know that the former mayor had never been on San Francisco Bay. It seems that all of these Bay Area experts and all the Bay Area natives have never been on a boat on San Francisco Bay. Isn't that interesting? I watch nature because I learn a lot about the world from nature. I see all sorts of species of birds feeding when the fish are close to the surface, and I often wonder. I see white birds, black birds, gray birds. I see big birds and small birds. You know, they don't kill each other. Isn't it interesting that they all feast on the fish of the sea, and they all know how to get along with each other because they've been doing it for millennia. For millennia, the birds have been feeding on the bay, and all bodies of water for that matter. Why is it they don't rip each other apart while feeding? Because they have civility. They figured out how to work together, as we did in America until the 60s came along, which destroyed the social order of this country. Then the drugs came along in great amounts, legal and illegal, deranged all of the birds on the bay. And now you got one bird pecking each other bird. The birds are pecking each other, which is just the way demagogues like it. I won't even use the name of the demagogue. Phil on WMAL, go ahead, please. What's your topic?
Yes, ISIS is going to be sorry when they meet Mr. Gambino, because they're going to wish they got their heads chopped off before he deals with them, because he'll tear them apart.
Well, I don't know that he's going to do it himself or such. But Phil, here's the thing: don't you think that this government is so weird that they're liable to do more surveillance on these guys than they would on ISIS themselves?
They're more worried about whether he's going to pay his taxes next year or not. I mean, let them deal with it. I don't have to worry about it. I mean, I'd rather see him take care of them because, the cops can't do anything. Can't rush.
Yes, even though the cops are tough enough to do it and would love to, they've been hamstrung by the community organizer and that lowlife Al Sharpton.
Yeah, they can't do nothing to him. I mean...
That's right. If a cop sees a guy running with a suicide vest, he has to call home first to find out if he can fire a bullet. He has to call the girl running the police department and see if she'll give him permission to shoot first or be blown up later. Thanks for the call. Be right back.
Join the Savage Nation. Call now, 855-400-SAVAGE, 855-400-7282. Savage.
The Savage Nation is sponsored by Swiss America, the only company I trust with my financial future. Call 800-289-2646 or Swiss America.
I want to be as clear as I can on this. Prejudice and discrimination helps ISIL and undermines our national security. And so even as we destroy ISIL on the battlefield, and we will destroy them, we will take back land that they are currently in, we will cut off their financing, we will hunt down their leadership, we will dismantle their networks and their supply lines, and we will ultimately destroy them. Even as we are in the process of doing that, we want to make sure that we don't lose our own values and our own principles.
What are your values, Mr. Obama? What are your values? Are your values to step on the Constitution, to spit on the people? What are your values, Mr. Obama? To do everything you can to spite Christians? What are your values, Mr. Obama? To spite the voters' wishes? What are your values, Mr. Obama? Your values? Your values you're talking about? Are you saying our values? What are your values? To go around the Congress? That's your value. That has value to you. To go around the people's wishes, that's a value to you. That has great value to you. To flood America with illegal aliens, that's one of your values, isn't it, Mr. Obama? To bring in Syrians when common sense says do not do so, isn't that one of your values? To spite common sense? And you have the nerve to lecture the people and say that we're prejudiced and discriminating because we don't want to die? We want to live instead of dying? Yeah, those are the values that I talk about, the value of survival. Here's something that just came out from the Western Journalism Group. Surprising culprit behind shoot every black person threat. Really? Someone did that? Turns out he was a black Delta College student. Oh, yeah, he put up a fake threat. And once again, another one. Police make arrest an anonymous, quote, shoot every black person threat. His mugshot will shock many. He's facing 20 years in prison because of threats he allegedly made to shoot every black person on the Saginaw Valley State University campus in Michigan. And there's a twist that should make every Black Lives Matter protester out there pause. The student himself is black. I have it up on michaelsavage.com. Making a false report, false threat of terrorism. It's a felony with a 20-year sentence, if convicted. He won't be convicted. Instead, he'll be invited to the White House, probably to be given the Presidential Medal of Disinformation. All right, you want to move on? What do you think about that interview? You want to move on to the other topics? There was another one I touched on. Here, I got to do this story before the hour comes to an end, this half hour. I saw it in the Post. Firefighter who flung physical, injured 10 days into job. So what? A firefighter who was allowed to graduate the fire academy despite failing physical tests has already gone out on medical leave just 10 days into the job. Probationary firefighter Sherilyn Doran Holder injured herself Monday while conducting a routine check of equipment at Queens Engine 308 in South Richmond Hill. See, getting off the truck, Doreen Holder missed a step and landed on her left foot. And, whoa, now she's on disability now. Firefighters called the tripping incident embarrassing. She got hurt stepping off a truck. Now, who is she? Well, the New York Fire Department celebrated her as one of 4 new female bravest, bringing the number of women to 49, all-time high. But look at how they hired her. You know how they hired her? Well, let's see. She was, let's put it in. They said academy instructors let her pass the functional skills test, a rigorous obstacle course of job-related tasks, even though she had failed to complete it in the required 17 minutes and 50 seconds or under. So they let her pass it because she wasn't a white woman. In addition, when she failed to finish a 1.5-mile run in 12 minutes or less, even after they shortened the course for her, she was allowed to demonstrate aerobic capacity on a Stairmaster machine under watered-down requirements, enacted by FDNY Commissioner Daniel Nigro. So she was a priority hire. She'd been passed over in 1999 and 2000 because she couldn't pass the test. So federal judge, the moron, Nicholas Garoufis, we call him Nicholas Goofus, ordered that the department must give them preference as victims of past discrimination against minorities. It was Doran Holder's third attempt to pass the academy. Well, you get the rest of the story. So she did an injury, stepped on off the truck. Since she was injured on duty, she's eligible for disability pension that's going to pay her 3/4 of her annual salary, tax-free, if deemed unfit to return. Now, if you think this is an isolated case, you're mistaken. The entire federal government is filled with people like this. The entire federal government is filled with doofuses who couldn't pass one test or another, but they did this, they did that, and they wind up running the country. Now you wonder why we can't fight ISIS? Now you wonder why the mail can't get delivered on time? Okay, I don't have to spell it out for you. It's Thanksgiving on Thursday. You know all of this already, right? This is basic to you. Or do you know it all or you don't know it all? I don't think you know it all. I run into people all the time who don't know what's going on around them. Are you one of them or are you one of us? Are you one of the people who know about Islam's 1400-year war against the world? Why don't you educate yourself and your liberal genius friends who went to NYU? Obama remains clueless on ISIS while America's demanding that war be declared. The thin, smoking man from nowhere doesn't even know what the American people want. He's so clueless. He only knows what Al Sharpton wants and what Loretta Lynch wants. God knows if he even knows what they want. How do you feel about this? I sincerely mean that. Do you feel that it's, immoral to work with crime members to save us when you have a government that is out of control, meaning a government of itself, by itself, and for itself? A government that will bring in Syrian refugees against all common sense, let alone to protect us from potential terrorists. As I said to you on Friday, even if one amongst 100 or one amongst 1,000 is toxic, why would you bring any of them in? I said months ago, build them a large area in a safe place in Syria. Have it built from the ground up. Give them the hammers and the nails and the saws. Bring in contractors, the greedy contractors, the ones who worked under Bush and Cheney. Let them build this new city for Syrians. And let them live there. Don't bring them here. And then after it settles down in Syria, let them go back and rebuild their own country instead of taking our country down. Now, what is wrong with that idea? How do you feel about this when you have Barack Hussein Obama, who thinks he's John Wayne, but he's closer to John Wayne Gacy? He's taking a real stand. He's saying it's absolutely vital for every country, every leader to send a signal that the viciousness of a handful of killers does not stop the world from doing vital business. Well, that's easy to say when you're surrounded by 5,000 Secret Service agents. Not easy to say when you're going to a shopping mall this Thanksgiving and you don't know if that headscarf over there has a bomb underneath it. In plain English. That's what the American people think. Don't tell me what I'm supposed to think, Obama. So people are afraid that they're going to be bombed at a shopping mall. And he's telling you, don't worry about a thing. Just go about your business. After all, what the heck? It's your life, not his. As you know, John Wayne was an American icon who embodied the American spirit. What did he show in the movies? Toughness, individuality, manhood, dignity. All things that have been beaten out of American culture by the academics, the vermin in the media, and Katzenberg, Ratzenberg in Hollywood. The same Hollywood that gave us a John Wayne and supported Americans through wars and the Great Depression, that showed us how great we are as a people, now defines courage and resolve as American men who should be embracing their inner woman and flaunting it for the world to see their weakness. And who's not acting that way? Well, our supposed enemies are not acting that way. Russia's not acting that way. China's not acting that way. They see the threats. In fact, the Chinese used flamethrowers over the weekend to root out some Islamist extremists in a cave. I know it didn't make it to Anderson Cooper, or Jake Tapwater. They weren't there to photograph the flamethrowers and run to the press with it. It was a little tougher than